Mangrove trees. The soil in swamps and marshes is too wet and salty for most trees to survive. Mangrove trees are the most common trees in these areas. Their tangled roots anchor them in the salt water.
Mangrove seeds begin to germinate, grow into plants, when they are still on the tree. When a seedling drops, it floats in the water until its root touches shallow bottom. Then more roots grow to anchor the seedling in the mud. Some roots even grow from the branches. Mangrove trees also have special roots that grow upward out of the mud. These roots help the tree breathe by taking in carbon dioxide from the air.
Other wetland trees. Mangroves are not the only trees that grow well in swamps and marshes. The white cedar grows in swamps in the eastern United States, and some kinds of palm trees grow quite well in mangrove swamps.
Many more trees grow at the edges of swamps, where the water level is lower for at least part of the year.
The bald cypress is a pine tree that grows only in the southeastern United States. Its roots grow above water like the mangroves, but the bald cypress is much larger than a mangrove. The bald cypress sometimes reaches 150 feet, 52 meters, high.
Mosquitoes. Have you ever had a mosquito bite? You might think so, but mosquitoes don't bite. They can't even open their jaws. Instead, they stick their needle-sharp mouth parts into your skin.
When a mosquito sucks up blood, some of its saliva gets into your skin. Most people are allergic to mosquito saliva and develop a red, itchy bump.
Male or female? There's an easy way to tell the difference between male and female mosquitoes. Only female mosquitoes drink blood.
The wings of a mosquito are so thin you can see the veins in them. Both male and female mosquitoes have scales covering these veins. Some mosquito scales shine in the light. Male mosquitoes have bushy antennae. They hear through these antennae.
A male mosquito's proboscis is short, with a sense organ called a pulp on either side. Male mosquitoes feed on nectar and other plant juices.
A mosquito must constantly flap its wings to stay in the air. The whine you hear from a mosquito is made by its wings beating very fast. Female mosquitoes' wings make a higher sound than males' wings. A male mosquito finds females by the sound of their wings.
Although most mosquitoes feed on plants, some female mosquitoes need animal blood to produce eggs that will hatch. A single female may lay 3,000 eggs in her lifetime. Female mosquitoes have only a few short hairs on their antennae. Although most mosquitoes feed on plants, some female mosquitoes need animal blood to produce eggs that will hatch. A single female may lay 3,000 eggs in her lifetime.
Female mosquitoes suck blood through a long tube called a proboscis.
More mosquitoes. Most mosquitoes begin their lives in water. Many female mosquitoes make egg rafts on the surface of water. This is why damp forests, marshes, and lakes have so many mosquitoes.
Once it is dry, an adult mosquito flies off in search of food and mates. Most mosquitoes remain within a mile, 1.6 kilometers, of their birthplace. A male mosquito dies within 7 to 10 days. A female may live for 30 days or more.
Once a mosquito hatches from the hard pupa skin, it must sit and dry off. Mosquitoes usually rest with 2 or more legs in the air. Male mosquitoes cannot hear for 1 or 2 days until their antennae are dry.
When it is ready to change into an adult, a wriggler becomes a pupa. A pupa is called a tumbler because it rolls and moves around in the water.
Mosquito larvae are called wrigglers. They swim around in the water looking for algae, tiny plants and animals, or even other mosquito larvae to eat.
An egg raft may contain up to 300 eggs.
Dangerous mosquitoes. The mosquito is one of the most annoying and dangerous insects for humans. Not only do mosquito bites swell and itch, but some mosquitoes can spread diseases such as yellow fever, dengue, encephalitis, and malaria. Malaria is spread by the female Anopheles mosquito. The mosquito becomes a carrier of the disease after taking blood from a person who has malaria. Every other person the mosquito takes blood from will become infected.
Malaria affects hundreds of millions of people. The pink areas on the map show where malaria occurs. Enemies. Mosquitoes have their own set of pests. Just as some mosquitoes prey on animals, other insects and animals prey on mosquitoes.
Stink bugs and many freshwater fish eat mosquito larvae.
Dragonflies and damselflies feed on adult mosquitoes.
The ultimate revenge comes from tiny bugs called punkies. Punkies suck blood from mosquitoes.
Saving skin. Mosquitoes are not a big problem for most people. People who fish or hike near lakes and streams, however, may run into billions of mosquitoes at a time. These people protect themselves, and so should you if you're going to be near a lot of mosquitoes.
A wide-brimmed hat and a face net are good protection for the head.
Long-sleeved shirts should be worn whether it is cold or warm. A jacket provides extra protection. In hot weather or places where mosquitoes aren't too heavy, you can spread bug repellent on your arms and legs instead of wearing lots of clothing. Make sure the repellent is not too strong before you put it on your skin, and always wash your hands and face before eating.
Gloves provide some protection for the hands. Loose pants made of thick material will protect your legs. Mosquitoes are very crafty and will bite you in the places where your pants touch your skin.
Crocodiles and alligators. Crocodiles and their relatives may seem like survivors from the prehistoric age. In fact, that's just what they are. 100 million years ago, crocodiles were prowling through the swamps with the dinosaurs. Deinosuchus lived during the late Cretaceous period, more than 65 million years ago. Its name means terror crocodile. This beast was much larger than crocodiles today. Its skull alone was 6.5 feet, 2 meters long. Other than changing in size, however, Crocodiles have changed very little since the time of the Dinosuchus.
Crocodilians. Crocodiles and alligators belong to the reptile group called crocodilians. This group includes 14 types of crocodiles, 1 kind of gavial, and 7 kinds of alligators. 5 of these kinds of alligators are known as caimans.
Crocodile. You can see the 4th tooth on both sides of the crocodile's lower jaw when its mouth is closed.
Alligator. You can't see any of the alligator's lower teeth when its mouth is closed.
Caiman. The caiman has a broad mouth for eating a variety of prey.
Gavial. The gavial has a long, slender mouth with sharp teeth for catching fish. Meat eaters. Lying low in the water, looking like an old log, the crocodile is ready to snap up almost any animal. Alligators and crocodiles are carnivorous, meat-eating reptiles. They lurk in rivers, lakes, and swamps and grab whatever prey they can. American alligator. The American alligator lives in rivers and swamps across the southeastern United States, where it eats fish, water birds, and anything else it can catch. In more populated areas, the American alligator also grabs farm animals.
Alligators and crocodiles use their sharp teeth to grip large prey. The teeth on the upper and lower jaws interlock when the mouth is closed.
Alligators and crocodiles eat fish and frogs whole. They drag large prey, such as deer, underwater to drown. Crocodiles are strong enough to twist a large animal apart.
An alligator's legs fold along its body when the animal is swimming.
An alligator's long tail swishes back and forth for rapid swimming. An alligator's long tail swishes back and forth for rapid swimming.
An alligator's eyes and nostrils are high on its head, so the animal can see and breathe when its body is almost submerged in water. Young. Like most reptiles, female alligators and crocodiles lay eggs. A mother covers her eggs with leaves or mud to make them hard to find. She often watches over the hiding place until the young hatch and call out. Then she breaks the nest open and sets the hatchlings free.
A mother crocodile may gather the hatchlings into her mouth and carry them to the safety of the water. The Nile crocodile is found in many parts of Africa. An adult measures up to 20 feet, 6 meters long, and can weigh more than 1 ton, 0.9 metric tons.
Gatorade. There are only two kinds of true alligator, the Chinese alligator and the American alligator. Today, the Chinese alligator is in danger of extinction. Only a few hundred are still alive. Can you think of a way to help this animal? Click on the photo for one idea.
In 1967, the American alligator was named an endangered species. It had once been common in many lakes and rivers in the southern United States and had been widely hunted for meat and sport. People also hunted the alligator for its skin, which can be turned into very valuable leather. After hunting was outlawed, the species made a huge comeback. Birds. One thing makes birds different from all other animals: feathers. Birds and their feathers can be found high up in the sky, deep under the water, and everywhere in between.
The ostrich is the largest bird. A male ostrich can grow to be 8 feet, 2.4 meters tall, and weigh 300 pounds, 140 kilograms. An ostrich can't fly because its wings are too small to lift its heavy body into the air.
The smallest bird is the bee hummingbird. It's only 2 inches, 5 centimeters long, and weighs 1/10 of an ounce, 3 grams. Can you guess why it is called a bee hummingbird?
The fastest bird is the peregrine falcon. It can reach a speed of 200 miles per hour, 330 kilometers per hour when it dives. That's almost 4 times faster than a car drives on the highway. The bar-headed goose is the highest flyer. It can fly as high as 25,000 feet, 7,800 meters, almost as high as a jet plane cruises.
The Arctic tern flies the longest distance of any bird. Every spring, the tern flies 11,000 miles, 17,700 kilometers, from Antarctica to the Arctic. In the fall, the tern flies all the way back to Antarctica. That's a 22,000-mile trip.
Inside a bird. A bird's skeleton is different from any other animal's. It is built for flight. A bird's tailbones are fused together into a single piece. This short, stiff tail helps the bird steer in the air. The fused bones are lighter than separate tailbones would be.
A bird's wing is made up of its finger, hand, and forearm bones, covered with flight feathers. The upper arm has strong muscles to raise the wing. A bird's eyes take up much of the space inside its skull. Almost all birds can see better than humans can.
Birds do not have teeth. Instead, they have a bony beak. This makes a bird's head much lighter than a mammal's head.
2 bones called clavicles make up the wishbone of a bird.
Flying birds have a large flat bone called a keel. The keel supports the huge flight muscles and prevents them from squeezing the bird's soft body parts when it flaps its wings.
What most people call the leg of a bird is actually its foot. A bird walks on its toes. The bone right above the toes is really part of the bird's foot. And what you might think is a backward knee is really the bird's ankle. Most of a bird's bones are hollow. Little rungs inside them keep them strong. The hollow parts of some bones let air from the lungs pass through them, which helps cool the bird's body as it flies. A bird's bones are much lighter than the solid bones of other animals. Most of a bird's bones are hollow. Little rungs inside them keep them strong. The hollow parts of some bones let air from the lungs pass through them, which helps cool the bird's body as it flies. A bird's bones are much lighter than the solid bones of other animals. Feathers. How many feathers do you think a bird has? 100? 1,000? A swan has 25,000, more than any other bird. Birds use their feathers to fly, to keep warm, and to attract mates. They use different kinds of feathers for different things.
A bird molts or changes its feathers when they wear out. Some birds, like the ptarmigan, change color when they molt. Ptarmigans live in the Arctic tundra. In the spring, the tundra is full of plants and flowers, and the ptarmigan has brown feathers. In the winter, the tundra is covered by snow. The ptarmigan's brown feathers are slowly replaced with white ones.
Down feathers grow beneath contour feathers. They are very soft and keep the bird warm. People use down feathers in pillows because they're so soft, and in comforters because they're so warm.
Feathers that cover the body are called contour feathers. Contour feathers come in many colors and patterns. They help keep the down feathers underneath them dry. Long contour feathers, called flight feathers, grow in the wings. Flight feathers must be stiff, so the bird's wings can push against the air. They are strong, but they are much lighter than bones.
Philo plumes look very different from other kinds of feathers. Their fluffy tops stick above the contour feathers of chicks, making them look fuzzy.
Flight. Feathers, strong muscles, and light bodies make birds good flyers. Some birds, such as the swift, are so good at flying that they may not land for over a year. They even sleep while flying.
When flying, a bird's wings are at their highest point just before the downstroke. The bird gets all of its power as it moves its wings downward.
On the downstroke, the bird's feathers pull together and the wing flattens to push down on the air. The slight curve in the wing creates a pocket of air underneath. This air lifts the bird up.
As the bird lifts its wing, the wing comes forward and the feathers separate to let air through. This way, the wings don't drag through the air and slow the bird down.
The bird lifts its wings high above its head to prepare for the next downstroke.
Egg to adult. Baby birds, called chicks, hatch from eggs. Female birds lay up to 20 eggs in a nest. Both parents may sit on the eggs to keep them warm. The parents work hard to raise the chicks until the chicks are old enough to take care of themselves.
Inside each egg is a single chick and some food. The egg has tiny pores that allow the chick to breathe while it grows inside the egg.
Once it is too big for the egg, the chick pecks its way out. Many chicks, like this young owl, are helpless when they emerge from their eggs.
This one-week-old owl is covered in soft down to keep it warm.
The owl finally has its eyes open and can support itself with its legs. The parents feed the chick often, and it grows fast.
The owl chick is getting its adult feathers. The feathers begin as little pins that eventually open up into feathers. Once the owl has most of its feathers, it starts to flap its wings. This builds up muscles and helps it learn to fly.
The 10-week-old owl can fly by itself, but still needs to practice. It will take a while for the young owl to fly as well as its parents.
Evolution. Scientists believe birds descended from a small dinosaur called Compsognathus. You might be surprised to learn that the flying reptiles, called pterosaurs, weren't related to birds at all.
Compsognathus, a small meat-eating dinosaur, lived from 195 to 135 million years ago.
Archaeopteryx developed about 140 million years ago. Archaeopteryx was still much like a dinosaur, but it had feathers.
Modern birds appeared about 65 to 38 million years ago.
Insects. The Earth is crawling with insects. With more than 1 million species, they make up the largest group of animals. Insects first appeared on Earth more than 500 million years ago. Today, they are found everywhere but the sea.
The hawk moth was named well. Flying at 21 miles per hour, 43.6 kilometers per hour, it's the fastest insect.
Fairy flies are barely visible to the human eye. A fairy fly could easily crawl through the eye of the smallest needle.
The Goliath beetle is one of the largest insects. Its body is as big as an adult's hand and weighs 3.5 ounces, 100 grams. Like many insects, fleas are high jumpers. A flea can leap more than 12 inches, 30 centimeters into the air. That's the same as a person jumping 800 feet, 245 meters, higher than a 70-story building. On the outside, an insect has 3 main body parts, 6 legs, and a hard coat. This means that spiders, scorpions, ticks, mites, millipedes, centipedes, and crustaceans are not insects.
The first segment of an insect is the head. That's where you'll find the brain, eyes, and mouth parts. The second segment of the insect's body is the thorax. All 3 pairs of legs are attached to the thorax. Wings are often attached here also.
The last long segment of the insect body is the abdomen. It contains the digestive and reproductive organs. The skeleton of an insect is on the outside. It is called an exoskeleton and is made of a substance called chitin.
Sense organs, called antennae, are attached to an insect's head. Most insects use their antennae to smell and feel. Some insects can also hear and taste with their antennae. Often the male has larger, more branched antennae than the female. These larger antennae help him detect the scent she releases during mating season. On the inside. The inside of an insect is very different from the inside of a human. Take a look.
An insect heart is very different from a human heart. Blood travels along a single tube that runs along the back of the insect. The tube is often divided into as many as 12 sections, and each section is called a heart.
An insect's digestive system has 3 main parts. From front to back, food passes through and is digested in the crop, the midgut, and the hindgut. An insect's kidneys are called Malpighian tubules. They help control water balance.
The eyes of an insect are so large that they can see all the way around the insect. Each eye is a compound eye, made up of thousands of tiny units called ommatidia. An ommatidium detects the amount and color of light entering the eye, but it cannot form an image by itself. Together, all of the ommatidia in the eye give the insect a view of the world made up of light and dark patches.
The mouth parts of insects are specialized for the food they eat. Some insects have strong jaws for chewing wood. Others have mouth parts shaped like tubes or sponges for sucking up liquids.
Insects breathe through small holes in their skin called spiracles. The spiracles feed into tubes called tracheae. The tracheae bring oxygen directly to the organs in the insect's body. Bugs. All bugs are insects, but not all insects are bugs. Confused? Don't be. Scientists use the name bug when they talk about only certain kinds of insects. Bed bugs, stink bugs, cicadas, and aphids are bugs. Beetles, grasshoppers, and flies are not. Many insects that are commonly called bugs are not bugs at all. June bugs and ladybugs, for example, are beetles. The animal shown here, called a pillbug, is not even an insect.
So how do you tell a bug from just any old insect? You have to get very close, because the only thing that all bugs have in common is their beak-like mouth parts. Bugs cannot chew or bite, so they can't eat solid food. Instead, they suck animal blood or plant juices. The bug shown here is an aphid. It pierces the stems of plants with the needle-sharp tip of its mouth.
Egg to adult. An insect begins life as an egg and changes shape as it grows. This is called metamorphosis. Many insects, including butterflies and bees, change so much that they look like a different type of insect when they reach adulthood. Other insects, such as the damselfly, go through a similar change.
Insects are experts at reproducing. Most mammals can only produce a few young each year. A single inserted wasp egg, however, may develop into more than 1,000 young. It's no wonder that an acre of land on Earth can have millions of insects living on it. Incomplete metamorphosis. A damselfly goes through a process called incomplete metamorphosis. From the moment it hatches in a pond or stream, the insect looks somewhat like its parents. As it grows, it sheds, or molts its hard shell, and a new one underneath expands and hardens. This happens 10 or more times for 2 years. Each time, the damselfly looks more like an adult. Importance. You may not believe it, but insects are very important to your life. Here are just a few insects you should thank.
Some insects, such as the ladybug, eat harmful insects. Ladybugs eat cottony cushion scale insects, which are serious pests of fruit trees. They also eat aphids, which kill many garden plants.
Silk is an important material for clothes and other products. The silkworm makes silk. If you have a pet fish, frog, or snake, you might feed it crickets. Many animals, and some people too, eat insects. Insects are an important source of protein.
Bees, especially the honeybee, might top the list of helpful insects. Bees provide honey, and they also pollinate many plants, giving us apples, pears, cherries, blackberries, strawberries, almonds, clover to feed animals, and many other things. The lac insect makes shellac, a substance used to make sealing wax and varnishes. About 4 million pounds of shellac are collected every year from the lac insects. The lac insect makes shellac, a substance used to make sealing wax and varnishes. About 4 million pounds of shellac are collected every year from the lac insects.
Flamingos. You'll know a flamingo the second you see one. No other bird's neck and legs are quite so long in relation to its body. Its beak has a hook bigger than a parrot's, and the color of those feathers puts the pinkest bubblegum to shame. A flamingo's beak is bent at the midpoint to make it easy to scoop up water. A flamingo's face doesn't have any feathers. The legs of a flamingo are very long and thin. They help keep the bird's body from getting wet in its marshy home. The legs of a flamingo are very long and thin. They help keep the bird's body from getting wet in its marshy home. The flamingo needs big wings to lift its large body.
The flamingo has a long neck, so it can reach down to the water from atop its long legs.
A flamingo's face doesn't have any feathers.
Like many water birds, flamingos have webbed feet.
Filter feeding. Flamingos live in warm marshes and lakes in Africa, South America, Southeast Asia, Southern Europe, and the Caribbean. Flamingos are filter feeders.
A flamingo.
Filter feeding. Flamingos live in warm marshes and lakes in Africa, South America, Southeast Asia, Southern Europe, and the Caribbean. Flamingos are filter feeders. They have to live near water in order to eat. With their heads upside down, flamingos strain tiny shellfish and algae out of the water.
A flamingo uses its beak and its tongue together to strain the water. The beak has combs on its sides that let water out but keep food in.
A flamingo's tongue pumps water through its beak. The spiky tongue filters tiny creatures out of the water. These creatures are flamingo food. They are so small that you can't see most of them without a microscope. Flamingos must eat a lot of these small plants and animals to stay alive. Safety in numbers. Flamingos live and raise their young in large colonies. The presence of a lot of birds keeps predators away and helps protect the eggs and chicks. Flamingos lay eggs once a year, when there is plenty of food available.
A flamingo feeds its chicks a milky substance produced in its crop, part of its throat. The chick eats it right from the parent's mouth. A flamingo chick does not look like its parents. It doesn't have the large, curved bill and pink color of an adult.
A flamingo nest is a mound of mud. Each female lays a single egg in her nest. The chick inside will survive only if the adults are left undisturbed. Flamingos often step on their eggs when trying to escape from predators.
Flying flamingos. A flying flamingo is an odd sight. In order to fly, a flamingo must stretch out both its long legs and neck. This makes it more streamlined and gives it balance.
Pelicans. A big brown pelican flies over the water scanning the waves for fish. When it spots a meal, it dives into the water and scoops up the fish. The pelican is a fish-eating bird that lives near water. It has a long, flat bill with a pouch of skin hanging from it. A pelican uses this pouch to store what it catches and brings the food out to eat when hungry.
Only brown pelicans dive bomb their prey. Others coast low over the waves, or swim close to the surface of the water in groups, chasing fish into shallow water before scooping them up. Breeding. Some kinds of pelicans breed on the ground, but others build their nests, large floppy piles of sticks, in trees. Pelicans live in groups. Like geese and ducks, they migrate together when the seasons change.
Shown here are some brown pelicans at their breeding grounds. In the picture, a 3-month-old pelican takes food from an adult's bill. Some kinds of pelicans, such as the spot-billed and Dalmatian pelicans, are very rare because their nesting sites have been destroyed.
In danger. During the 1950s and 1960s, many farmers sprayed crops with DDT, a pesticide, chemical that kills insect pests. The chemical seeped into lakes and rivers where fish absorbed it. Pelicans that ate these fish laid eggs with shells that were too thin and weak to protect the chicks inside. Most of the chicks in shells like this one died, and the number of pelicans dropped disastrously. The use of DDT as a pesticide was eventually banned. Since then, many kinds of birds, including pelicans, have begun to breed successfully again.
Carnivorous plants. A small animal crawls onto the leaves of a Venus's flytrap, attracted by the sweet fluid inside. When an animal touches the leaves, it brushes against tiny trigger hairs on their surface. In less than a second, the leaves snap shut. The animal is trapped. Flesh eaters. The Venus flytrap is only one kind of carnivorous plant. Most of these plants grow in marshes and bogs where the soil contains little nitrogen. The plants capture animals, mostly insects, to get the nitrogen they need.
Bladderwort. Bladderworts are mostly aquatic plants. They get their name from the many oval balloon-like bladders on their stems and leaves. When an insect brushes the bristles around a bladder's opening, the bladder's walls spring open, sucking in the insect to digest it.
Sticky sundews. Sundews are the most common type of flesh-eating plant. Their leaves are covered in hairs that secrete a sticky fluid that clings to them in droplets. When an insect lands on a leaf, it sticks. The hairs curl around the insect, pressing it against the leaf. The leaf secretes juices that digest the insect.
Bladderwort. Bladderworts are mostly aquatic plants. They get their name from the many oval balloon-like bladders on their stems and leaves. When an insect brushes the bristles around a bladder's opening, the bladder's walls spring open, sucking in the insect to digest it.
Pitcher plant. Pitcher plants have tube-shaped leaves or pitchers lined with tiny hairs that point downward. When an insect climbs inside the pitcher, the hairs make it impossible for the insect to climb out. The insect eventually falls into a pool of water and digestive juices at the bottom of the plant. Dinosaurs. Long before humans ever lived, amazing animals called dinosaurs roamed the earth. There were more than 1,000 kinds of dinosaurs of all different shapes and colors. Some were terrifyingly huge, while others were smaller than most pet dogs. Tyrannosaurus rex was one of the largest meat-eating land animals that ever lived. It was over 40 feet, 12 meters long, and almost 20 feet, 6 meters tall. Its teeth were 6 inches, 15 centimeters long, and very sharp. Dinosaurs came in many shapes and sizes. One of the largest known dinosaurs, Brachiosaurus, weighed about as much as 15 elephants. Ultrasaurus, a more recent discovery, was probably even heavier. One of the smallest known dinosaurs, Compsognathus, was about the size of a large chicken. Dinosaurs came in many shapes and sizes. One of the largest known dinosaurs, Brachiosaurus, weighed about as much as 15 elephants. Ultrasaurus, a more recent discovery, was probably even heavier. One of the smallest known dinosaurs, Compsognathus, was about the size of a large chicken. The Age of Dinosaurs. The first dinosaurs lived about 225 million years ago. They ruled the Earth for 160 million years. During this time, the Earth was also home to reptiles, amphibians, and large and small mammal-like animals. The first dinosaurs appeared at the end of the Triassic period. Coelophysis, Plateosaurus, and other small dinosaurs roamed the Earth's single continent. Ferns, cycads, and horsetails grew near water, while ginkgos and conifers grew in warm, dry, inland regions.
The Earth's climate became wetter during the Jurassic period. Tall trees covered the land, providing food for many kinds of long-necked dinosaurs called sauropods. Other plant eaters, including the armor-plated Stegosaurus, appeared during the Jurassic. as did fierce meat-eaters like Allosaurus. Flying and swimming reptiles also lived during the Jurassic.
During the Cretaceous period, the climate became drier again. Flowering plants appeared, and so did the insects that pollinated them. New kinds of dinosaurs included the horned triceratops. Crocodiles, small mammals, and the first birds also lived during the Cretaceous period.
What is a dinosaur? Dinosaur means terrible lizard, but dinosaurs weren't lizards. Dinosaurs probably descended from reptiles that lived about 330 million years ago. They looked like giant reptiles, but they were different from reptiles in many ways.
Scientists think that most dinosaurs had scales and laid eggs like crocodiles and many other reptiles. They may also have been brightly colored, like some lizards and snakes.
The tuatara isn't a dinosaur, but it belongs to a group of reptiles that was around during the time of the dinosaurs. The tuatara is the only living member of this group, and it is more closely related to dinosaurs than to other modern reptiles. Scientists used to think that dinosaurs were cold-blooded, like reptiles and fish, and that they moved fairly slowly and clumsily. Many scientists now think some dinosaurs were warm-blooded, like birds and mammals. With a large heart and plenty of energy, warm-blooded dinosaurs could run quickly. Heterodontosaurus, shown here, may have been the fastest dinosaur.
Unlike reptiles, dinosaurs walked upright. Their legs attached underneath their bodies to support their weight. Reptiles' legs attached at the sides of their bodies, so they walk with an awkward, sprawling gait.
Bird hips and lizard hips. Scientists separate dinosaurs into two main groups, depending on the structure of their skeletons. One group, the Ornithischians, had hip bones like birds. Saurischians had hip bones like lizards.
Some Saurischian, lizard-hip dinosaurs walked on 4 legs and ate plants, while others walked on 2 legs and ate meat. The hip bones of both types pointed outward in opposite directions.
Ornithischian, bird-hip dinosaurs ate plants, and most of them walked on 4 legs. Their lower hip bones pointed the same direction behind their back legs.
Are birds modern dinosaurs? Some scientists think so. Scientists believe that an animal called Archaeopteryx was the ancestor of modern birds. They can't decide, however, whether Archaeopteryx itself was a bird, a dinosaur, or something in between.
Plant eaters. Most dinosaurs were herbivores, plant eaters. Their teeth were many shapes. Some had large, flat surfaces for grinding up leaves, while others were straight and peg-like for raking them in. Some plant-eating dinosaurs had as many as 2,000 teeth.
Diplodocus was one of the largest dinosaurs. It swallowed leaves whole. It had teeth only in the front of its mouth, so it couldn't chew anything. Because it was so large, Diplodocus probably had to eat all day long to get enough food.
Protoceratops snipped through woody stems with its beak-like mouth. This dinosaur was probably about 6 feet, 2 meters long. Scientists think that Protoceratops and some other dinosaurs raised their young in groups for protection. Fossils of adults and young have been found with eggs. Meat eaters. Meat-eating dinosaurs had huge teeth and powerful jaw muscles for a strong bite. They hunted both large and small animals, including other dinosaurs. They also ate dead animals and dinosaur eggs.
Some meat-eaters were small, but they were ferocious. They were very fast and ate fish, frogs, lizards, and anything else they could chase down and get their claws into. The claws shown here belonged to baryonyx,
which is nicknamed claws. Allosaurus was a relative of the fearsome Tyrannosaurus rex. It walked on its hind legs and ate plant-eating dinosaurs.
Oviraptor got its name because it may have stolen the eggs of other dinosaurs for food. Ova means eggs. Oviraptor had no real teeth, but it had 2 sharp spikes inside its mouth, with which it could easily have cracked eggs. In the air and underwater. While dinosaurs ruled the land, giant animals called pterosaurs lived in the air. Others, such as ichthyosaurs and plesiosaurs, lived in the sea. These animals were not dinosaurs, but they were closely related to them. Giant sea reptiles often look like fish. They dove deep beneath the surface of the water to feed on fish and sea animals. Like modern whales and dolphins, however, they had to return to the surface to breathe air.
Pterosaurs had huge leathery wings. They probably hunted fish from the air, much like pelicans and other seabirds. Like birds, pterosaurs may have been warm-blooded. Learning about dinosaurs. No one has ever seen a living dinosaur. We know about them because people have found fossils like dinosaur teeth, bones, eggs, and footprints. The first dinosaur fossils were identified in the 1820s.
Scientists sometimes find fossilized dinosaur eggs. The eggs help them figure out how big baby dinosaurs were and how many were born at a time.
Scientists can tell something about a dinosaur's diet from the bones they find. This gorgeous source had powerful jaw muscles and large sharp teeth, both of which are good for tearing meat. Scientists take fossils and put them together to guess how dinosaurs looked. This is the skeleton of a stegosaurus. Its heavy armor and tiny head make scientists think the stegosaurus was hard to kill, but not very smart. The end of the dinosaurs. About 65 million years ago, dinosaurs and other giant reptiles suddenly died out. No one is exactly sure why. Many scientists think the dinosaurs died because a huge meteorite hit the Earth, stirring up so much dust that it blotted out the sun. Only small creatures could have survived such a disaster. They did not need to eat as much as the dinosaurs to survive. The first mammals, including early primates, were alive at this time. Such a large meteorite would have to leave a big crater. Some people think that 65 million years ago, a large meteorite hit near the coast of what is now Mexico. Dino, drag, and drop. With names like tongue twisters, dinosaurs are hard to keep track of. Click on each name to read about the dinosaur it belongs to, then drag the name to the correct picture.
Barosaurus. When? Late Jurassic. Where? Africa, North America. How big? 90 feet, 27 meters, from head to tail. This dinosaur's neck was longer than a city bus. 30 feet from head to shoulders, Barosaurus used its neck to feed on the leaves of tall trees. It may even have stood on its hind legs to eat, using its long whip-like tail for balance.
Pachycephalosaurus. When? Late Cretaceous. Where? North America. How big? 15 feet, 4.6 meters from head to tail. Pachycephalosaurus means thick-headed lizard. This dinosaur had a dome-shaped skull, the top of which was more than 1 foot thick. Pachycephalosaurus may have used its bony head to butt at other dinosaurs.
Plateosaurus. When? Triassic. Where? Europe. How big? 26 feet, 8 meters, from head to tail. Plateosaurus roamed the Earth 200 million years ago. It was one of the first large dinosaurs discovered. Plateosaurus was a plant-eater, but it also may have eaten rocks. Archaeologists have found small piles of rocks inside some Plateosaurus skeletons. The dinosaur probably swallowed the rocks to aid its digestion. They lodged in its gizzard, where they helped to grind up plant food.
Parasaurolophus. When? Late Cretaceous. Where? North America. How big? 33 feet, 10 meters from head to tail. Parasaurolophus was a hadrosaur, or duck-billed dinosaur. The hollow crest on its head may have served to amplify its call, make it louder, so that other dinosaurs could hear it.
Ankylosaurus. When? Late Cretaceous. Where? North America. How big? 35 feet, 10.7 meters, from head to tail. Ankylosaurus had no trouble defending itself from even large predators. Its tail ended in 2 large balls of bone, making a 3-foot wide club that Ankylosaurus swung at its attackers. Ankylosaurus was also covered in bony spikes. Spinosaurus. When? Late Cretaceous. Where? Africa. How big? 40 feet, 12 meters, from head to tail. Can you guess how Spinosaurus got its name? Skin stretched between bony spines formed a tall crest on its back. The crest may have helped Spinosaurus absorb and give off heat quickly to keep warm or stay cool.
Buffalo and bison. Buffalo and bison are large animals related to cattle. Like cattle, they live in herds. Buffalo and bison can be quite dangerous in the wild. Members of a herd often defend each other and can badly injure enemies as big as lions. Buffalo. Buffalo live in many kinds of places, including swamps, grasslands, and mountainous forests. All buffalo are plant eaters. They survive on a wide range of plant materials, from leaves and grasses to moss and bark.
Several small relatives of the water buffalo live on islands in the Pacific Ocean. The tamarau, shown here, is found only on the island of Mindoro in the Philippines. This shy animal is endangered.
Water buffalo have enormous horns that curve backward, covering a span as wide as 12 feet, 3.7 meters. Water buffalo may weigh 540 pounds, 1,200 kilograms. Wild water buffalo live in remote parts of India and Asia.
The Cape buffalo lives in the grasslands and woodlands of Africa. Like the water buffalo, it likes to wallow in mud to cool off and stay away from biting insects. The Cape buffalo is dying out as the land it lives on is cleared for farms.
Buffalo at work. Water buffalo are becoming less common in the wild, but there are 130 million domestic water buffalo in Asia, Europe, North Africa, and South America. They pull farm equipment and provide meat and milk. With their wide hooves and thick legs, water buffalo can walk easily in mud along riverbanks and lake shores. Water buffalo are often used to farm flooded rice paddies. Bison. You may have learned about the plight of the American buffalo. This animal is not actually a buffalo, but a relative of the buffalo called the bison. The bison is the largest land mammal in North America. Millions of bison once roamed across the North American plains. A century ago, settlers had killed so many bison that only 500 were left alive. Today, there are about 50,000 bison in America, living in protected wildlife parks. The smaller European bison has also been saved from extinction. More than 20 herds, bred in captivity, have been released in the wild. About half of them live in wildlife conservation areas.
Other relatives. Buffalo and bison belong to a family that also includes antelope, sheep, and goats. Within this family, buffalo and bison are most closely related to cow-like animals, such as yaks. All of these animals have permanent horns and two-toed hooves, and all live in herds.
Yaks are scattered throughout the cold, dry mountains and icy plateaus of Tibet. Their dark, coarse fur protects them from the climate. Yaks have been domesticated and bred with cattle. They provide rich milk, tough hides, and high-quality meat. Their fur can be spun and woven into cloth.
Ecology and food webs. We can look at nature in the same way we look at a complicated machine, to see how all the parts fit together. Ecology is the study of how living things depend on each other and the things around them to survive.
Biomes. Living things are found only in a thin section of land, water, and air at the Earth's surface. This section is called the biosphere, and it contains communities of plants and animals that live together. A habitat is a place where a certain animal or plant usually lives. A large habitat, such as a desert, is called a biome.
A biome is defined by the plants that live in it. This map shows the main types of biomes in the world. Each color on the map represents a kind of biome. Ecosystems. A community of living things plus all the things that surround it, such as soil, air, climate, and other communities, make up an ecosystem. Both energy and raw materials, chemicals such as carbon and oxygen, flow through all ecosystems. Ecosystems can be very complicated or quite simple. Even an aquarium in your home or classroom, for example, is an ecosystem. The Earth itself can be seen as one giant ecosystem spinning through space. It is powered by light energy from the sun, and its raw materials are recycled by mushrooms and other living things that feed on dead plant and animal matter. What is your niche? Each living thing has a special way of life called a niche. A niche is a living thing's place in nature, or the role it plays in an ecosystem to get what it needs to survive. Even you have a niche. It's defined by just about everything about you, including how you get to school and what you like to eat for a snack.
Human beings are omnivores, or creatures that eat both plants and animals. Humans live on the ground and walk on two legs.
Food chain. Energy passes through an ecosystem when living things eat other living things. When a cat eats a bird, for example, the bird's energy is passed to the cat. This relationship is called a food chain. Living things can be divided into groups: producers, consumers, and decomposers, depending on what they do in a food chain. Kingfishers are top consumers. They eat everything, but they don't get eaten. The top consumers in an ecosystem are often animals such as large cats, dogs, and birds. These animals are powerful, but they wouldn't survive if even one member of their food chain disappeared. Animals such as leeches and water snails, as well as fungi such as mushrooms and mold, are called decomposers. They feed on dead plants and animals, breaking them down and making their nutrients available for other living things to use. Plants are producers. They capture the sun's energy and use it to produce new growth. They absorb the nutrients that decomposers leave in the ground. Plants can't get the nutrients directly from dead material.
Tadpoles eat water weeds. Tadpoles and other plant eaters are grouped as primary consumers. They can't make their own food from light the way plants can. Instead, they get energy from eating plants.
Many fish are carnivores, or meat eaters. They eat other animals, including herbivores, such as tadpoles. This makes them secondary consumers.
One way to show the flow of energy in a food chain is with a food pyramid like the one shown here. Energy enters the pyramid through the bottom layer, the producers, and is passed upward as the producers are eaten by the primary consumers. The primary consumers are eaten by the secondary consumers, and so on.
You might notice that the levels of a food pyramid get smaller as they get higher up the pyramid. That's because living things are not very good at storing the energy they take in. They release most of it as heat. By the time the energy reaches the top of the pyramid, in fact, there's only enough to keep a small number of top consumers alive.
Food webs. An ecosystem has many food chains. A plant or animal may belong to more than one of them. This overlapping system of food chains is called a food web. Food webs can be linked to form bigger food webs. This illustration shows a meadow food web made up of several food chains. The dandelion plant is the main producer for all of them, and the fox is the top consumer. Do you see any other animals that belong to more than one food chain in the web?
Ecology and pollution. Ecology helps people understand what living things need to survive, and it also helps people see the problems caused by changing the natural areas where plants and animals live. Ecologists use this understanding to save plants and animals from extinction.
When voles and other herbivores eat plants, they also eat any pesticides that were sprayed on them. The pesticides stay in the animals' bodies and build up over time. Foxes absorb these pesticides when they eat voles, and eagles absorb the pesticides in the foxes when they eat fox cubs.
Since voles must eat many plants, foxes must eat many voles, and eagles must eat many fox cubs to survive, the level of pesticides in an animal's body is more concentrated at every level going up the food chain. Large amounts of pesticides can kill an animal or keep it from having healthy young. Because of this, many pesticides are no longer used.